project diary, I will teach you how to grow lilies from bulbs. Hi and welcome to Project Diaries. Today's project is really dear to my heart and I'm doing it in honour of my dear old nan who passed away a while back. These were her favourite flowers in the entire world, and I always remember Grandad buying her a huge bunch of flowers every Saturday morning, and her smile would always light up the room, and it's just one of my favourite memories. So I want to keep her spirit alive by growing these in the garden, and hopefully Grandad can help remembering all the good times that he had as well. Now these are lilies and I'm going to grow them from bulb. There are so many different colours and varieties that you can get. I'll help you out by putting some links in the description box below if you're interested in buying any bulbs and stuff online. This should help. Now I will let you know that this was one of the first videos I ever recorded back when I first started this channel. But it was one of the systems, or one of the files that got corrupted. So there was lots of individual clips that I couldn't create an entire video. So hopefully now I can by going back and recording new footage. So please bear with me if there are some shaky bits, then you remember that it was years ago. But hopefully you're going to enjoy it, and today's video is how to grow lilies from bulbs. So the best time to plant these bulbs is autumn, fall or spring. I managed to get this pack of 3 Asiatic lilies last year in autumn sales, and that's a really good advice to keep an eye out for those because they are really cheap at that time of year. If you want some other good ideas of what to do in the autumn, here's my video link. And as usual, I'll leave some helpful Amazon links in the description box below in case you need to buy anything online. Now I've decided to get a really tall pot today, mainly because I'm going to pot these lilies about 6 inches deep once they go into the garden. I'm just going to start them off in pots. So here they are, already starting to sprout as it's spring, looking beautiful. Now what I want to do is I'll probably pot these about 2 to 3 times the depth of the bulb. So I'm going to pot them about that deep. Now the guidelines say don't pack these too close together, but I'm actually going to put all 3 bulbs in one. To start off with, I'm just going to get a handful of pebbles. If you don't have any pebbles to hand, you can also use broken up ceramic garden pots. This is to help with drainage. The last thing you want to do is bog these down and get root rot. It's just about enough. About that much. Maybe that's a bit too many. I'll preserve some. That's better. So what I'm going to do is just fill it about 2 to 3 inches at the bottom. Now I've added homemade compost with some perlite, only a small sprinkling. I've got loads left over, but this is completely optional. So now just going to pack that down a little bit. Now you don't have to use all your homemade compost. Lilies can grow in most soils as long as it drains really well. And adding a good amount of vermiculite or perlite to the soil can really help with drainage and moisture retention. So there's going to be 1, 2 and 3 bulbs. Also, as long as you have really good drainage, lilies don't mind growing in soil that's slightly acidic. So there's the 3 bulbs with the green facing upwards and the roots at the bottom. Now all you need to do is just fill it in. Now the other reason why I'm starting these in pots is because I have no idea of what colour they're going to be once they produce flowers. Different lily varieties can also range in height from anything between 10 inches and 4 feet. You can also get a tree lily which can grow all the way up to 8 foot. Once they have flowered and died back, I'll then transfer them to whichever flower bed has that colour scheme. Also, putting them this low will mean that your plant will be a lot more stable when it starts to grow through. So it won't blow around in the wind and it'll be a lot stronger plant. Planting them deep will also protect them from any severe frost damage. I had some sawdust in there just because it came with the packet. That'll rot down fine. Now a lot of spring bulbs can really benefit from something called stratification. This is when the bulb goes into a dormant phase over a month or so of cold weather. So as lilies are perennials and will come back year after year, it's a really good idea to keep them outside through the winter months, because this will guarantee a really healthy and big bloom every year. The other thing is some varieties of lilies don't like lime, so make sure this hasn't been added to any compost or soil. Once you've done that, you just pack down the top slightly, get rid of all the air pockets. Don't push the soil down too much, but you do want to pack it enough so the new seedling will have enough resistance in order for it to grow strong. And water him well. It's always good to leave an inch or two gap between the top of the pot and the soil, because this will really help with watering as well. Then just leave them somewhere that gets at least 6 hours of full sunlight a day. Now if you plant these in autumn, you won't get anything until the spring weather starts warming up. As soon as you start getting those lovely warm sunny spring days, it would usually take around a month or so for them to start pushing through the soil. But amazingly enough, we've had almost summer conditions really early this year. All the daffodils came up in January, and these have started to push through within 3 weeks. That's also down to a really mild winter. But you can also bring these bulbs on early with a system called forcing. This is where you can place the containers in a really warm greenhouse or conservatory. The optimum temperature would be around 65 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. This will trick the bulb into thinking it's much later on in the season, and it will push through a lot quicker. But you will need to maintain that temperature or harden them off before you put them outside. Here they are another 3 weeks on, and as you can see, they're already starting to produce flower buds. These are also extremely healthy, and you can visually see them growing taller every day. If you notice your stems are leaning over to one side, this means they're not getting enough sunlight. If this happens, try to move them in a more sunnier spot in your garden. Now these are the Asiatic variety and the first to bloom. As soon as you see the early spring flowers starting to emerge from the soil, it will take between 30 and 45 days for them to come to a full bloom. Orientals will be slightly later, taking between 40 and 90 days to flower. And the last variety to bloom would be the American native tiger lilies. These will take between 100 and 120 days to reach full bloom after your first spring growth. Which means if you plant various varieties throughout your garden, not only will you get a burst of beautiful colours throughout the months, the flowers will last all the way through spring, summer and autumn. After being really successful growing so many different varieties and colours this year, I can definitely see why these were some of my nan's favourite flowers of all time. The one thing that has happened is the lilies and the dahlias are really growing on strong, and they seem to be struggling for the same space, so I will separate the bulbs later on in the year once the flowers have died back. But hopefully I'll be able to do this in another video, so don't forget to subscribe. The other amazing and most important thing about this project is the mixture between beautiful sunshine and lovely flowers. Grandad's actually managed to get outside with a huge smile on his face, and he absolutely loves the garden. The final part of this video was one of the corrupt files on my previous hard drive. So I'm just going to show you what happens. This is basically the year later, and as they're a perennial, they come back every year, and they will come back the same colour and the same height each time. So all I did was just got the bucket, dug a hole roughly the same size as the pot, made it the same depth, and placed it in. Now basically when you use the pebbles, it won't become root bound, so the roots should be able to spread out and become a lot more stronger. The other problem is, and what I'll do in my next video, is show you what this problem is. Now this is called a scarlet lily bug, and they will actually destroy the whole flower within a day or two. But what I'll do now is I'll end this video here, and I'll do another video on how to treat scarlet lily bugs. Anyway, take care of yourself, and I'll see you again next time. If you'd like to keep up to date on all of my future releases, click the subscribe button here. Here are some links to some of my other videos. And if you tried this or any other project, I'd love to see your progress, so please join my Facebook gardening group where thousands of people are sharing photos and ideas daily. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.